Imagine this, a country just full of innovators, people with great ideas, but they keep hitting roadblocks. Unclear rules, finding cash is tough, no real official backing. Now, what if those roadblocks started coming down? Today we're doing a deep dive into Ethiopia and how it's tackling exactly that with its first ever Startup Proclamation, a truly historic move. Our mission here is to really unpack what this law means for the entrepreneurs on the ground, for investors looking in, and for Ethiopia's whole economic future. We've dug into the reports on this landmark legislation and we're ready to get into it.
Yeah, and it's really key to understand this wasn't like an overnight thing. The approval date, July 17th, 2025, that came after nearly 5 years of back and forth, intense discussions, loads of revisions, debates between different ministries. It was quite the process, but it ended with unanimous backing in Parliament. So this legal clarity, it was genuinely long-awaited, needed.
Right, 5 years. That context is important. So let's talk about the core problem then. What was it really trying to fix? Ethiopia's innovators faced, well, a tough environment, yeah. Vague rules, hard to get capital support, felt scattered. If you were an entrepreneur, you were kind of operating in a gray area. So what were the biggest hurdles this law specifically targets? How does it try to build that comprehensive framework?
Absolutely. The biggest hurdle, hands down, was that regulatory ambiguity, just vagueness. So the law's first big impact, really foundational, is defining and classifying startups properly, giving them legal recognition. That sounds simple, maybe, just defining a word. But it's monumental. Before this, like you said, Ethiopian entrepreneurs were in a sort of legal limbo, made formal investment tricky. Even basic registration could be a nightmare. This clarity isn't just admin. It legitimizes the whole innovation scene. It opens doors, to global money that wasn't accessible before. And beyond just the definition, it maps out paths for finance, structured incentives, support systems, a clear roadmap instead of a maze.
Okay, so defining startup is step one. A big one. It creates legitimacy. But I'm thinking about the person actually launching something right now. What are the really practical things in this law? The tangible bits that make a difference today?
Right, the practical stuff. Well, one of the headline items is the National Fund of Funds. Think of it like a government-backed fund that invests in other venture capital funds. The idea is to boost the total amount of capital available and kind of de-risk investing in those early stages. Plus, you've got specific grant programs for startups. That's non-dilutive cash, which is gold, and something people really wanted, a credit guarantee scheme. This helps startups get loans from banks even if they don't have much collateral yet. It's huge for bridging those early funding gaps.
A fund of funds, grants, loan guarantees.
Right.
That's serious support. And besides the money side, what other direct perks do designated startups get? What else really moves the needle?
Yeah, there are other key benefits. For startups that get designated, there's an income tax exemption. They can carry forward losses for up to 2 years. So basically, they don't pay tax on early profits until they've kind of covered their initial costs. That's a massive help when cash flow is tight.
Okay, that makes sense.
And there's more. Duty-free privileges for importing essential capital goods for up to 4 years. Just imagine the relief for a founder. Suddenly, those early losses aren't quite so painful, and buying critical equipment becomes cheaper. Interestingly, these points, like the tax breaks and duty-free imports, were apparently sticking points earlier in the drafting. But getting them included now really shows a strong commitment. It's critical for growth.
Fascinating. You can see how those specific things add up. So let's zoom out. What does this all mean for the bigger economic picture in Ethiopia? People are saying it could be a major catalyst. But how, exactly? How did these startup perks translate into wider growth?
Well, the ripple effects could be pretty substantial. It's not just about the startups themselves. The expectation is this will really encourage more foreign investment, makes the country look more attractive, more stable for innovation and investment. It should significantly improve the ease of doing business overall, and crucially, drive job creation in really vital sectors, too. Think fintech, mobile payments, online banking innovation, agritech, using tech to improve farming, digital health, online medical services, health data. These are key areas.
Right, the high growth sectors.
Exactly. We're talking potential for lots of new skilled jobs, developers, analysts, engineers, health tech specialists. And that fund of funds we mentioned, it's seen as a cornerstone for more public-private partnerships down the line for research, product development, helping companies scale up.
Okay, so putting it all together, Ethiopia's Startup Proclamation feels like a really significant milestone, moving the country towards a much more formal supported system for innovation. A clear signal, right? Open for business, especially if you've got a big idea.
Absolutely. And or maybe a final thought for you, the listener, to chew on. Seeing Ethiopia take this major step, what does that journey look like elsewhere? In other emerging economies trying to formalize support for innovation, what are their unique challenges? And what might
Mhm.
be the next step in laws like this? Maybe around things like IP protection or making it easier for startups to work across borders? Something to think about.